Okay, ladies and gentlemen, solving inequalities. As a reminder, when we are solving, we have a goal. It's the same goal for every time I am solving. Our goal is get the variable alone. Okay, I'll try to spell that right. Okay, so that is our goal. Okay, now we do need to take on a couple of other notes. So here's our note to self. Okay, up in this top right hand corner. First of all, when I divide or multiply by a negative, okay, all capitals, okay, by a negative number, flip the symbol. Okay. If you multiply or divide by a negative number, flip the symbol. Inequalities, these are symbols, not signs, they're symbols. So we're going to flip it if you multiply or divide by a negative, and I will show you what I mean by that in a moment. And here is why. Okay. Why do we do that? Here is why. Because if I have 6 is greater than 2, right? 6 is greater than 2. Yes, yes. If I multiply this by negative 1, I get negative 6 and negative 2. Now, which number is larger? Negative 2. So when you multiply, it works the same way with division, by a negative number, the inequality symbol flips because which number is larger changes. Okay? So keep that in mind. Now, let's turn our paper sideways and go over the little note I have here to the side. Okay, so this is, we read this is less than, we read this is less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, and this of course means not equal to, okay? That does not mean no solution, just means things are not equal. Okay, so keeping in mind of that, I'm going to show you how we read inequality symbols. So here's one. This has nothing to do with alligators eating anything. Here's why inequality symbols are read the way they are. I have an actual angle here, and this is what I've got. The space between these, they're called rays, the space between these two rays is greater than the space on this end of the angle. So if I'm reading this way from left to right, greater than, greater space, greater than, less space, less than. Okay, so we're going to make a note of that. Greater space, greater than. Okay, less space, less than. And that's how we are going to read those from left to right. Okay, now let's talk about what happens when we use these symbols. Okay, if you have a less than, when we graph it, That's going to give me an open circle. And I'm going to shade. Less than means the answers are to the left. Okay, so we shade to the left. Less than or equal to, because it's also equal to, we get a closed circle. We're going to put a circle on the answer. It's either going to be open if there's no equal to part. It's going to be closed. It's also still going to shade left than is left. Okay? Let me fix this arrow up here a little bit better here. Okay. Greater than, open circle, but I'm going to shade to the right. Numbers get bigger as we go to the right. So this is an open circle. Okay, I'm shading to the right. Greater than or equal to, I've got the equal to part, so that closes my circle. Still shading to the right because it's still greater than. Numbers get greater as we go to the right, but it is a closed circle. Okay, so that's information you need to have. And you also need to make sure that you study these if you don't already know these, and make sure you commit these to memory. Okay? So, now that we have those notes, let's move over here and work on number 1. I've got 20 is less space, because remember, I'm only reading the piece I see right there. So it's less space, less than. So 20 less than 3n plus 8. What's my variable? My variable is n. Okay, so solving means I'm getting the variable isolated. Here's my variable covered up. What goes away first? Plus 8. What's the inverse of plus 8? Minus 8. So minus 8, that's now a 0. 20 minus 8 is 12. So 12 12, got my inequality in the right place here, less than 3n. My variable is still n. I'm still trying to isolate it or get it by itself. How do I get rid of the 3? Divide it away. There's a 1. N 4. Okay, now this is what I've got here. Okay, but we should change this around, rearrange it so that it is written with the variable first. So I'm going to write the n first, and then I'm going to write the 4. My question is, if I put my n now on the left and my 4 on the right, what do I do with this symbol? I'm going to switch it around so that the greater side is still facing towards the n. This is my final answer. Now I can graph it. So here we go. My answer is 4, so a circle goes here. It is greater than, so go back over here, greater than is an open circle. So I'm going to leave that open. Now here's how we shade. Where are the numbers greater than positive 4? They're to the right. Here's how we shade. And then you make that arrow on the end larger and darker so I can see which way you're going. Okay? That's how we shade. Alright? Excuse me. So now, let's look at number 3. I've got an equal to part, so keep that in mind. Negative 5, I read the part of that symbol I come to first. It's greater space, so it's greater than. Negative 5 greater than or equal to negative 8 plus v over 6. My variable I'm solving for is v. So I'm going to leave it alone. Cover it up if it helps. And I've got a negative 8. Minus 8 goes away first. How do I move a minus 8? Well, I add 8. And this is another way to do it. I subtracted it down here. If it makes more sense to do it there, and then bring your answer down, greater than or equal to, that's 0 because I did the opposite operation on the opposite side, and I got b over 6 left. Now, b is still my variable. How do I get rid of the 6? Multiply. And where do the parentheses go? Around what's already there. Around what's already there. I'm going to multiply by the denominator, make it go away. 6 goes into 6 one time. B less than or equal to, remember if I read it this way, I got the less than part, so less than or equal to, and 6 times 3 is 18. Now, I can't leave it like this, okay? I need that variable on the left-hand side, so here we go. I'm going to switch the position of my variable and my answer, right? So if I switch their position, I switch the symbol position. Okay, so v is less than or equal to 18. I've got the equal to part, so I'm going to come down here, less than or equal to, what kind of circle do I have? Closed. So I'm going to go to the 18, and I'm going to put a closed circle on it. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if I can't tell if your circle is open or closed, it's wrong. I do not work hard to try to tell what your answers are, so you've got to make sure I can tell. Now, b is less than. Here's my 18. Where are the numbers less than 18? To the left. And this is how we're going to graph an inequality. Now, why do we have to graph an inequality? How many answers are there for v less than or equal to 18? Well, infinity. There's an infinite number of answers for less than or equal to 18. So, that's why we have to graph them, and that's why we have to shade to show where all the answers are and where they're going. Okay? Now, let me make this comment. When we have an open circle, okay, we'll turn our paper sideways. Open circles, the answer not included. Not included in the answer set. Okay? Answers not included in the answer set. Which means that when n is greater than 4, is 4 part of the answer? Well, no, because 4 is not larger than 4. So that's why it's got to be an open circle. Okay? So that's for open circles. The 4 is not included in my answer set. Now, when I look at a closed circle, or closed circles, the answer is included in the answer set. Okay? So for closed circles, so when it says that v is greater than or equal to 18, 18 is part of the answer set. That's why we have to close it in, to show inclusion. Open circle means 4 is not one of the answers. Closed circle means that 18 is part of the answer set. Okay? All right, let's turn our paper back around to the straight up here. And let's look at number 5. Okay? So here we are. We're going to look at number 5. And what I have is negative 20 is less than or equal to negative 3p plus 1. Okay? So, as I look at that, I'm thinking, okay, my variable is p. So, and it's being multiplied to the 3. So I know that that stays here first, and I get rid of addition or subtraction first. So the inverse of plus 1 is minus 1. So that's a 0. And negative 20 minus 1 is a negative 21, which would then be less than or equal to negative 3. Now I've got the negative 3 that's being multiplied. The inverse is to divide. So I'm going to divide by negative 3. On the opposite side, that gives me my positive 1. Remember, in order for a variable to be alone, it's got to be positive. Now, my answer on this side is a positive 7. But let's talk about what did we just perform? What operation did we just perform? Division by a negative number. Back up here at our rule, it says when I divide or multiply by a negative number, flip the symbol. So, as I look at this, did I divide by a negative? I did. So when I go to write my symbol, it is now greater than or equal to. I divided by a negative, therefore I had to flip the inequality symbol. Now, is P on the correct side? No, it is not. So, switch the sides, switch the variable in the answer, switch the inequality. And this is our final answer. So you just have to take your time and pay attention to your symbol. Okay? Now, this does include, this is notes and homework. So we practice some solving. No matter what we're solving, ladies and gentlemen, no matter what we're solving, the goal is always the same. Get the variable alone. And it's the same process every time. Opposite, inverse operations to move numbers across the equal sign. That has not changed. The process is the same. Okay? So, I want you to pause the video and get the answers to number 7 and 9. And once you have those answers, I want you to start the video back up and check your answers. Okay, I would hope that you solved that correctly. It is less than, so it's an open circle. Where are the numbers less than negative 20? To the left. Okay, I get so excited when I know the answers. I forgot we need to graph number 5, so let's go back and do that. My answer is 7. It is a P is less space less than equal to 7, but it's less than or equal to, so I get a closed circle, less than, left. Okay, less than, left. Okay, now let's look at number 9. So here we go. I've already got this set up. I subtracted the 1 over here. Negative 1 minus 1 is a negative 2. And now I'm getting rid of the denominator of 2 by multiplying by on both sides. 2 goes into 2, positive 1 time, so x is left. Now, this is negative 4. Now, do I need to flip this inequality? No. No, we do not. Because did I divide by a negative? No, I did not. Did I multiply by a negative? No, I did not. This negative 2 was already here, and it made a negative 4. I did not multiply by a negative to get that. Remember, it's when I do it. This is already here. This is what you did. So it stays the same. So I'm going to go to negative 4. It's going to be an open circle, and less than goes left. Okay? Very good. Your homework is problems 2. Now I can mark those for you. It's going to be 2, 4, 8. Turn your paper over. 12, 16, and 20. Okay, you have your 2 ways to type in your homework. If Edulastic is not working for you, take your pictures, put them on Google Classroom Docs. Thank you.